Ladies and gentlemen, con nosotros, he's representing Pacoima. You can hang out with him at the Rally for Your Rights this Saturday. Our California Secretary of State.
Baby.
Make some noise for Alex Padilla. Yeah, baby. How are
Oh,
you, Alex? How are you feeling?
Good. I'll root for myself too, man.
I love it. You should.
You have
should.
to. We're all about repping our cities and our hometown, so it's just nice to know. You know, it's nice to start off the whole break like that. Shout out to everybody in Pacoima, and thank you to you. Shout out to you for stopping by and letting us know about a big event going down. Yeah, mañana sábado, and we must talk about that.
No, absolutely. So, we love to have fun. The weekend has arrived, but there's something serious also going on this weekend.
Yes.
Today marks the 25 years since the passage of Proposition 187.
Man.
A lot of us, sometimes we try to tune out government
Yep.
and politics
Right.
because it's so negative sometimes, but it's important to remember these key moments in our history.
Yep.
All the negativity that we're hearing against immigrants and Latinos on a national level today, believe it or not, that was the state of California 25 years ago.
Unbelievable.
And a lot of politics and legislative stuff happening in Sacramento kind of culminated into a measure that was on the ballot that the voters of California approved. But it was the resistance to that measure, the campaign against it, and everything that's happened since then that has turned California into what it is today.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just the most populous state in the nation. We're the most diverse
Right.
state in the nation, the most Latino state in the nation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're better off for it. So we want to celebrate both the progress as well as remember, the fights that we've overcome.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this proposition because a lot of people, they don't really tune into propositions. It's just too complicated. Like you said, like people really don't, I feel like, I don't think it's that they care enough, but maybe they just tune it out. Like, why don't we talk a little bit about like what exactly that proposition meant for Latinos? How much this was going to impact people.
So specifically what the question was that was put before the voters was, should we make undocumented immigrants and children of immigrants no longer eligible for public services? Right? Sounds kind of plain, but if you stop and think about what is public services, it meant things like if your parents didn't have insurance through their work and you got sick, needed to go see a doctor, all of a sudden you couldn't go to that county clinic because public health is a public service.
Like, what do they think? Like, they're not human, or like, what is the issue? And it's crazy that it's repeating 25 years later. Why do you feel like this is something that is repeating in history? Not even just this, like horrible things in history just come back. Why do you think that happens?
Okay, that's a great point. If you look at the country's history, over time, there's been, especially in tough economic times, right? Whenever there's a recession, well, who are we going to blame? Right. There's always some group that gets targeted.
Right.
Once upon a time, it was the Irish, it was the Chinese, it was the Italians. It seems like it's been our turn for the last 30, 40 years, but it's not right. And again, this 187 story, for me, it's one of mixed emotions, right? The good news is, we responded. We didn't take the ball and go home. We didn't go into hiding. Our community organized, and we fought not just in 1994, but we've been organizing ever since. And look at the difference. The population has grown in California. We have a lot more Latino registered voters today.
Yeah.
In 1994, there was less than 1.4 million.
Yeah.
Today, there's more than 4 million.
Man.
And you can see the difference in representation and in the policies that are coming out of Sacramento. But that's California. That's not the other 49 states. And so we're having to relive this yet again. But we know how to overcome it by getting engaged, right? People like my parents who had no interest in becoming citizens finally taking that step.
Amazing.
Not just to become citizens, but so that they could register and they could vote. A lot of young people 25 years ago. I still think I'm young, but I know I'm not as young as I used to be.
You're young. You're young.
You're young, man. Look at you.
Yeah, they kind of tell a different story. But, at that point thinking, I want nothing to do with government and politics. Look at all the negativity. Why do I want to be involved with that? But realizing that's how we make change. So a whole young generation of leaders and activists finally coming together and getting involved.
Yeah.
Now, 25 years ago is so important, right? We all came together. This is why this event is so important, to all come together, not only to remember algo tan grande que sucedió hace 25 años, but we are living right now a terrible situation where that fear back on immigration is on, and that based off of our president. He's constantly setting fear that we are the issue, that we must leave. It's no longer que no usen los servicios públicos. It's now que se vayan del país.
Yeah.
It's even scarier. Entonces, why is it so important? No solamente para llegar con toda la familia, pero que lleguen y representen the Latinos, pero que hagan algo después de eso come Saturday.
So it is, again, important to not just recognized 25 years ago what it meant, but the gathering tomorrow, we need to show our numbers, right? That we're not going to back away. We're going to keep fighting. And this, in the same spirit that people came together to resist 187, you know, we got to continue to get involved today. Look, 2020 is going to be a big year.
Yes.
There's still, we have record registration in California, but there's still a lot of Latinos who are eligible and have not registered to vote. We need everybody who's eligible to register, to commit to voting, not just in November, but in March. We have a March primary. And between the primary and the general election, we have what's known as the census. Every 10 years, we have to do a head count of everybody, not just in California, but across the country. It's the census that determines how much federal funding comes to our communities for housing, for healthcare, for education, for safety, for all these things. So if we don't participate in the census, then we don't get our share of resources. And I can tell you, nothing would make Trump happier than to make sure California doesn't get its funding.
Right.
Absolutely.
And California doesn't get its representation.
And actually, I had done a segment on Viral where I did a headline talking about Trump, and this is kind of going left, but not wanting to give more money for the fires and stuff like that. I mean, he really has it against California. And again, like you said, it's so crazy how a leader is able to kind of strike fear in people, right? And it's crazy how they target people, because I don't know, why do you think it is that they target a minority group of people when really we're just out here living, doing our best, you know, we're really contributing to society in huge ways, but it's like they use that as their scapegoat. We've seen it happen in Europe, like, again, all across the world. And why do you think it is that they want to target a group of people and blame all of the problems on them?
You know, it's fear of the unknown. They got to blame somebody because they can't take the responsibility for what's going wrong.
Totally.
Right? 25 years ago, California had a good number and percentage of Latinos, but it wasn't as Latino as it is today. And those same demographic shifts are happening now, not just in California and Texas and New York, but it's happening in places like Alabama and
across
Georgia and North Carolina. And so for those communities who are seeing like, wait a minute, my community's changing. I mean, what's going on here? I don't really know these people, what they're about, and I'm struggling maybe, you know, to hold on to my job. The economy's changing. It's easier to point the finger at somebody that you don't know. So that's what's happening. We're reliving it. We lived it here before. Other parts of the country are reliving it, but again, it goes back to the people that came together around 187, and what we've done since is a story of hope for the rest of the country. They too can work towards a better future by engaging the way we did, by promoting citizenship, by promoting registration, voting in every election, and other aspects of influencing government.
Now, I know this information for those listening might be overwhelming. And who wants to talk politics all the time? Especially, we see it every day. It's on our social media de un instante. Pero es la realidad.
But it's
es la
critical.
triste realidad. It's happening and we must do something. Si no, ¿por qué nos andamos quejando, right?
Yeah.
So, ¿por qué nos andamos quejando?
So
We
let me tell you
can't.
a quick story. So about almost a year and a half ago, I got invited to a rally outside of El Paso. It was at the location of those first detention centers, right? And so it was summer vacation. My family was on a road trip, but you know, time to get serious for a moment. We're driving to the event, and I got my 3 kids in the back. Right, they're 12, 6, and 4. So back then they're 11, 5, and 3. And I asked them, "Right, boys, why are we going to El Paso?" And, you know, my 12-year-old kind of quiet in the back seat. I'm sure he was thinking about it. My 5-year-old, well, he was a kindergartner, didn't expect much. But before I could react, my 3-year-old at the time, Diego, may say, "Dad, Donald Trump is putting kids in cages." My 3-year-old. And so I look at my wife. I'm like, "Honey, what are you telling him?" And she's like, "I didn't tell you anything. What did you tell him?" We're not telling him, but they know. They feel it. They see it. You know, if you have the news on, our kids are paying attention. So it is important to get our kids engaged. Just like there was a lot of teenagers that walked out of high schools 25 years ago and continued to do that earlier this year. Maybe it was against 187. Maybe it's so that our teachers can get paid better. You know, it's all this level of engagement that needs to happen to continue to influence the politicians.
Yeah, definitely talk to your children. I'm sorry, Mondo. That happened to me with my daughter, Natalia. I'm crying right now.
I know.
Because she's 7 years old, and there was plenty of these videos go viral of the kids being set in detention centers, of the parents being taken away. The one where there was this kid that she was crying in the hallway because her parent never came. Her parent dropped her off at school and never came to pick her up.
I remember
Because they sent them away. Entonces my daughter asked, "Why is this person crying? And it breaks your heart as a parent, but you have to tell them.
Yeah.
You have to, porque son bien vivos, bien inteligentes, and they got to feel that so they can know that this is wrong. Entonces, esa es la razón de lo cual tenemos que ir con toda la familia, if you have kids, to this event that's going on tomorrow.
So, well, you'll see my boys out there.
So tomorrow, Rally for Your Rights. It's a rally against immigration rights. It's a rally that is also, I guess, fighting hatred. How do we do that? How do we fight hatred? How do we rally against hatred?
Yeah, by showing love, man.
Yep,
we all come together in big numbers.
Yeah.
Right. It's easy to sit at home and let somebody else handle it. It's easy to kind of tweet out what we're thinking or feeling, or show our happy life on Instagram.
Yes.
But it takes work to show up.
Yes.
Right? And that was one of the iconic moments of the campaign against 187. Think about this. It was the largest march in LA history, maybe California history, was in 1994, when, if you ask, maybe the LA Times, they say 75,000 people showed up. If you ask, La Opinión, it was 100,000 people who showed up. But it was a big turnout. And this is the days before Facebook and Twitter and Eventbrite or anything else. This was like real organizing, posters, phone calls, knocking on doors. But our community showed up and for the first time said, we're not going to go away. You're coming after us, but we're going to stand up. We're going to demand our respect. And so this gathering tomorrow is sort of an homage to that. How can we once again come together, not just Latinos, not just immigrants, but anybody who believes the way we believe, who shares these values, can and should be there.
Yeah, and that's such an amazing point with social media. A lot of people do just think a tweet and all that helps, because that does create, it kind of creates anger or sadness within people. Again, we were crying when we were watching these videos, but showing up, you guys, this weekend is so important. If you think it doesn't pertain to you, it absolutely 100% does.
And if you think it does, it pertains to someone that you know. Entonces, we must show up with the family,
and
spread
don't worry,
love.
we're going to have a little bit of everything. So, yes, there'll be some political talk and some opportunities to register. But there's going to be some good entertainment. We want to make it that family environment, because there is a lot to celebrate for the progress that we made in California.
Yeah,
so
de hecho.
you have the list of artists,
Yeah, I do have the list of artists, but before I mention the entertainment, because, again, it's going to be a fun rally. It's a rally for our rights. Va a haber puestos, like you said, para gente que no andan registrados. You're wondering, when can I do it? I don't have time. Where should I go? Hay gente que ni sabe.
Right.
Hoy en día ni sabe. Entonces, esto es un sitio perfecto where they can go and you're going to walk them down el proceso to register.
Exacto. Y bastantes voluntarios dispuestos para ayudarles. Si es comprometerse a participar en el censo del 2020, porque no es una amenaza contra nosotros, es algo que debemos de participar.
Sí.
O para la gente que no se ha inscrito para votar, va a haber organizaciones y otros líderes ayudándoles, pidiéndoles que hagan ese compromiso. Si son elegibles, inscríbanse, prepárense, porque el marzo ya está al punto de llegar.
Yeah.
Cuando piensan en votar, a big election year in 2020, por la mayoría pensamos en the presidential election. Y a veces la gente nomás entra, okay, voy a votar por ese presidente o esa persona, but there's a lot on that ballot. There's propositions still, like Prop 187 was back then. How important is it para votar por estas proposiciones también?
And locally,
I tell people, every race or contest is important, and every election is important, because we only vote for president once every 4 years.
Yeah.
But if you care, if you're a young high schooler today thinking about how am I going to afford college, right? College affordability, who has a lot to do with that? The governor and the legislature, not the president, right? If you're worried about safety in your community, you better care who your council member is and the mayor is, or funding in schools for our little brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
That's the school board. That's not Congress. So every race is important. We're affected by all levels of government each and every day.
Amazing.
You guys, it's all going down mañana sabadito, 9 de noviembre, de 10 a 4 de la tarde. It's Los Angeles State Historic Park y es un evento totalmente gratis. Gratis, show
Amazing.
up, represent esa energía que tuvimos hace 25 años. Bring that energy and more. Bring that love. And just get ready to learn, to sign up, and to have fun. De hecho, mencionamos entretenimiento. Pete Escobedo's going to be there. Alo Black, Los Racas, Luis Coronel. I mean, and so much more. And it's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful day. So I really hope that everybody comes and join the rally for our rights.
Y aparte de eso, Alex, thank you so much for coming by. You know what? You are such a voice for our community, for our generation. You are fighting for stuff that people of our generation, generations older than us, care about. I cannot thank you enough for doing that. And you are such an example and inspiration to myself and everybody on this show. One of my favorite interviews for sure, because this is something we're all so passionate about, is like what's really happening in our world. So thank you
for having me. Thank you for being part of it. We started with giving a shout out to Pacoima. Now I represent the whole state of California.
Yeah.
But home is home, right here in the Valley. My dad still lives in the same house we grew up in.
Yes.
My sister's in San Fernando. My brothers, we haven't gone that far. This is still home. This is where the heart is.
Well, thank you so much, Alex Padilla, our California Secretary of State. Tomorrow, we are celebrating the 25 years anniversary that Proposition 187 didn't go down, and I know it's going to be a big turnout, and we appreciate you once again, and you're welcome here anytime on Cali Mornings.
All right,
absolutely.
Nos vemos mañana, primero Dios. Thank you again. Tráete toda la familia, pasa la voz. It's going to be a beautiful day, and we'll be there. It's Cali 93, 9 número 1 reggaeton.
Y más.